And I tell you, the hope for peace has also dwindled in the hearts of many Palestinians. They can't do anything about it. They are people under occupation. They have to deal with one face of Israel, and that is the face of an occupier, the face of a soldier who is just there to prevent them from moving, to prevent them from doing, to prevent them from building, to prevent them from buying, from purchasing, to determine for them what to do and what not to do. A horrible life of constraints and subjugation, the like of which I have not seen at any other earlier time, including the period between 67 and 1994. I'm not referring to the golden days of 1994, 1996. It's really, to the Palestinians, it's humiliating, it's debilitating, and it's so magnificent that are still among us people who are dedicated to this peace process. But despite all of this dark feelings and dark reality of where the peace should go, one also must look a little bit also inside and outside. Inside, we have a schism inside Palestine between Hamas and Fatah. But that schism led to a physical separation of Gaza from the Palestinian motherland, if you wish. The West Bank is to be a motherland. But anyway, 40% of our people are in Gaza. And Gaza is besieged. And Gaza's, I am a Gazan, so I bleed inside every time I go to Gaza. It's really a horrible life, both because of Israeli occupation and Israeli siege, and because of the way Hamas is managing Gaza. And I don't want to go further in that, but really that's a major ache for us. And to us, Israel played a major role in making separation possible. The unilateral withdrawal of Mr. Sharon and the reoccupation of the West Bank by putting Gaza under draconian siege created the physical possibility for Hamas to make a coup d'etat and to take over Gaza. And to continue its control of Gaza. The Arab Spring around us, as Brother Tayyip has explained, is full of hope because it's the youth are coming to call for democracy, to call for ending corruption, to call for participation, to call for a future is there, but it's also full of problems and potential that might lead it astray from the Iran is there, and of course if Iran throws an atomic bomb on you, God forbid, all the Palestinians will vanish at the same time. So nobody here can tell you that we are not concerned with the atomic capability of Iran. But we feel many times, given all the information we have, that what the reality, whatever reality is there, is overutilized by the Prime Minister of Israel to totally take the focus away from Palestinian-Israeli peace into something similar to what happened with Saddam and the weapons of mass destruction and all of we have the story coming back and back again, and we're afraid that a so-called preventive attack on Iran might also destroy us. I mean, we have no choice in the matter. We are being dragged, like the people of Israel, to a slaughterhouse that is not of our choice or even of our expectation in any way. And therefore, these are all matters that are making things more difficult. But, to conclude, we as a leadership of the Palestinian people, in Fatah and in the authority, are still committed to the peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. We have not given up, and our president has not given up. Number two, we have not given it up on the only solution that is really feasible and doable, and that is a two-state solution. There is no other solution except protracted conflict. To talk about the one-state solution that you don't want, It looked to me in 1969 as a magnificent dream of having a one America style or South Africa style, where all people live in one democratic country and every culture and religious people have the right to exercise their culture and religion, but politically they are one country. In 1969, I was the prophet of the one state, democratic state idea. But then I came to see that this cannot be done without the full democratic approval of the two people. And that is not coming. It will be protracted struggle. Or else living under apartheid for another 50 years. And therefore, no. A solution has to be defined by desirability and feasibility. The only one available to us is a two-state solution, and we are dedicated to a two-state solution. Number 3, we still think that the only real way to do it is through negotiations. We've not given that up. But negotiation requires at least 2 things. One, that when you agree to certain terms of reference, you commit yourself to them. You don't change them if you think that the balance of power has come your way, so you keep changing the terms of reference based on the present balance of power between the two parties. And 2, that whatever you agree, you implement. But if you keep agreeing to things, you keep signing agreements that you don't implement, there is no trust that going back to the same negotiation under the same conditions will get you anywhere. Worse, if while you are negotiating, the contrary to the terms of reference is being done on the ground, so that eventually there will be nothing to negotiate. And please Google Mr. Shamir's statement after going to Madrid. I'll negotiate for 10 years while building settlement, there will be nothing to negotiate. That is precisely what Mr. Netanyahu is trying to do. And therefore, I thought I needed to assure you of where we stand on these matters. Furthermore, if our negotiation is comprehensive and covers the issues of refugees, water, settlement, and everything else, obviously once we sign that agreement, there will be no more conflict and no more claims. But to end conflict and to end claims, you have to sign a comprehensive agreement. Don't keep signing partial agreements and temporary agreements and interim agreements. That was done way long time ago. We cannot go into interimness anymore. And I've argued this with the late Mr. Ramallah many times. He was absolutely committed to the idea of interimness as it gave me confidence that you do things, it becomes a good servant, not a vicious servant. But I told him that Mr. Ramallah, it could work also the other way around. If things don't work right, it destroys confidence instead of building confidence. And where do you go when this happens? And interimness builds kind of expectations that are very difficult to fulfill. And they are contrary expectations of the two sides. I tell you, one of the reasons Camp David failed is that the Israeli side, led by Mr. Barak, and the American side, building on their experience with interim agreements, thought that we will accept anything. And they would keep saying, you know, you wanted this in Gaza, Jericho, and then finally you accepted less than what you wanted. You wanted this and you accepted it. But Mr. Barak, these were interim agreements. We were still hoping to reach one day when we reach a final agreement. No, they felt that we will accept it. 60% of us should be very happy with 60%. And interimness also built expectations on our side that when not fulfilled, people will burn the fire. This is the time to build a final agreement. And once you build a final comprehensive agreement, then things can go better and can. Everybody builds for a future of cooperation, of agreements that build for a long time. All right? And finally, how do we do that now? It's not possible. And therefore, we really have 3 roads to break through this impact. One road is the Israeli road, i.e. to build relationship with Israeli forces that can change the policy of the government of Israel. That's your job, that's not ours. I would like to hear from you, but I don't think you are that optimistic that now we can change the government of Israel through democratic means, and we will bring a new government that is more capable of really doing what is needed. And therefore, it's a process and not a one. It's a process. And I would like to tell you, we have not abandoned that process. We have not abandoned the hope that we will be able to build coalitions with Israelis who want democratically to change their country into a leadership that can do what is not being done. The second road is international activism. Anybody who is dedicated not to go back to violence, and I tell you, we are dedicated not to go back to violence. Not because we are cowards, not because we are not good patriots, not because we are not willing to defend our soil, but I think we've done enough of that. Nobody can really tell us you have not paid the price for your country. But it's a very costly process to both people. And I include very much those of you and your families who died in the suicidal bombings of 2004. Horrible. But this is happening to us every day. The attack on Gaza in 2008, 2009, and many others. Blood is being spilled on the ground as if, from our point of view, it's priceless, worthless. Therefore, nobody wants to go to peace through reviving the wounds again. That is another commitment I would like to transmit to you. Therefore, if you don't want to go back to war, you have to fight the occupation by other means. By demonstrations, and I know many brave young men and women from Israel join with us in these demonstrations. And I tell them, you are our real partner. Two, you have to go to the United Nations. You have to get support from the court. When you don't want to take matters in your hand, you go to court. You go to the international community. You ask for the recognition. You ask for membership. Somebody says, you think that's going to work out? Well, it is certainly much better doing it than going back to armed struggle. I remember again something that I used to talk to Rabil about, and I used to really tell him, and he used to tell me, I know peace is going to be very difficult and it's going to be very painful, but I'm willing to go through all the pains of peace for as much time as it will take, rather than spend one day with the pain of fighting and killing each other. I remember his statement in the White House, enough, in 1994, in the White House. 1993, just before the White House. Therefore, you have to understand why we have to go and tell the world the Israeli occupation is killing us. Why we want to go and get resolutions from the United Nations and from all kinds of organizations, because that's the only alternative. We can also continue in Bil'in and Nabil and Sheikh Jarrah. But you know, this ability to go to, you can boycott settlement products, and all of this is needed to keep the people believing that their government is still dedicated to get them an independent, free country. And it has not given up the struggle. We've given up violence, but we have not given up the struggle to end the occupation. And I think that is really the mood we're in. In the meanwhile, our president has not given up on any chance for negotiations if the minimum is there. I think Rahim has explained that. And so, with these commitments in hand, we want you hand in hand with us to work to produce the Israeli side of the equation, to move towards peace again, towards renegotiations again, towards a future for our two people, towards all the dreams that you have developed when you created NERDS. Thank you very much.